It's time for another closer look at a key Kentucky Oaks contender. And here's your host, Magic.
WhatMatterRacingNews.com, Magic and Dr. Miranda here to preview the race we've only been building towards for the last 6 months. Dr. Miranda, it's finally time for the Kentucky Oaks. Are you excited for the big race?
I'm super excited. I'm not excited about the weather. It's supposed to rain all day, so it's going to be even more of a cluster tomorrow because a lot of these horses haven't even ran in the slot before. So I believe anything's going to happen tomorrow.
It's going to be interesting. We've got 14 3-year-old fillies that they've been working all winter and spring towards this race. A grade 1 with a huge purse on the line, plenty of glory. Take us through the field. Let us know who you think is going to win the big race.
All right, so we're going to start off with the number 1, Secret Oath. There has been so much buzz around this horse ever since the Martha Washington, where she romped the field by 7 lengths, and then again in the Honeybee, where she won by the same amount of lengths. Everyone was saying, oh, they're going to put this horse in the Derby. She's the next big thing, so they decided to put her in the Arkansas Derby, where she did get 3rd place behind Cyberknife and Barber Road. But, I mean, that's decent, but I don't know anybody who's betting Barber Road or Cyberknife in the Derby to win. So now here she is in the Kentucky Oaks, going against the best fillies, who she's actually not faced at all this year. She did face Ugiri in the Honeybee, but I don't think Ugiri, that was her best performance. You can ask anyone that. I thought that this horse has been overhyped since the day 1. She comes from Oaklawn Park. She hasn't faced the best of company. And this time she's breaking from the rail, which I don't love for her. Another thing that I want to point out is what I've heard is that D. Wayne Lucas, when he gets a good horse, he trains it into the ground. And I have heard the last 3 weeks he has been training her nonstop. So I just don't think that she's going to be her best on Friday. The second horse is Nostalgic, who earned her way into the Oaks by winning the Gazelle last month at Aqueduct. So by winning that race, it proves that she can get the distance alone, which a lot of these fillies can't say. They haven't tried a mile and an eighth. She beat Vinty Valentine by a length, who is also in this race. Before the Gazelle, she broke her maiden first try, and they put her in a couple grade stakes, and she didn't really do much, so they put her in an optional claimer with Lasix. She went from a 50 buyer to an 80 buyer within 1 race. She then got her best buyer in the Gazelle, so that shows that she is improving. And this is going to be a big test for her, and we'll have to prove that the Gazelle was not just a fluke, because some of those horses I think were tiring out, and she was the one who would get the distance. Now, the number 3 is Hidden Connection, who started off her 2-year-old career amazing, going 2 for 2, winning the grade 3 Pocahontas. She then ran into Echo Zulu at Del Mar and proved that she had a little bit of work left to do. She came back at the Rachel Alexandra after being off for 3 months. She got 4th place, which showed that she really wasn't quite primed for that race. She then came back in the Fairground Oaks, where she met up with Echo Zulu again, but this time she only lost by a nose. She was gaining ground and simply ran out of track. So one positive thing with her is that this race is a mile and an eighth instead of a mile and 16th. So she's going to have that extra room this time. The number 4 is Nest, who I was so excited to see come back after her performance in the Desmoselle in December, where she beat out Vinty Valentine by a nose. In February, they put her in the Suncoast Stakes at Tampa, where she romped the field really easily. So her big test was Ashland Stakes, which is pretty much the last chance to get into the Oaks. Well, that proved to be super easy for her. She won by 8 lengths and earning her best buyer of 92. You can argue that she hasn't faced the best competition in New York, so this could be a big test where she is facing the best of the best right now. But she just reminds me so much of Malathat, and she's on the same projection that Malathat was last year, where she won the Desmoselle, went on to the Ashland. So I'm just expecting a big performance out of her. The number 5 is Goddess of Fire, who always just seems to be the bridesmaid, never the bride. She's finished behind 4 of these horses in this race. Most recently got second behind Turner Loose in the Rachel Alexandra, and then behind Kathleen O in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. She did jump up from an 80 buyer to a 94 buyer in her most recent start, but I honestly don't think that Kathleen O was giving her best in that race, because I think they kind of knew that they had it in the bag. I think that this horse is a great horse, but I just don't think this is her race to win. The number 6 is Ugiri, who most recently was in the performance in the Fantasy Stakes. She won. She beat out Begin by a neck. I do want to point out that she was starting to lose ground, and this race is a little bit longer. So the question is, can she hold on for the extra 16th? Another thing that you may want to note is that she lost to Secret Oath by over 9 lengths back in February. She has a lot of speed, but I don't think that this race is going to be won by a forward-placing horse, especially with the slop. The number 7 is Echo Zulu, who was arguably the best 2-year-old winning the Breeders' Cup fillies back in November, juvenile fillies in November. She has been pretty unstoppable ever since her debut, going 5 for 5, never losing a race. But she almost lost her last race, however, in the Fairground Oaks, where she was almost nosed out by Hidden Connection. I think that she is one of the most talented horses in here, but I also don't think that she wants to go this distance, especially with this fast pace. I think she's going to burn out early and not have enough gas in the tank. This will be her second off the layoff, so she may come back with a monster performance. But I just don't think it's going to be that easy with her, especially these closers. I don't want to compare her to Gamine because they have, different breeding. But the fact that Gamine couldn't get the distance, I think Echo Zulu is kind of going to be on the same thing. The number 8 is Venti Valentine, who broke her maiden first try, and then she was put in the Desmoselle, where she only lost by a length to Nest, which is one of the favorites in here. She went on to the Busher Invitational. She won by over 7 lengths. Last race with the Gazelle, where she couldn't quite hold off Nostalgic, was who was closing in from behind. She has been working out great at Churchill Downs. She also gets Tyler Gaffleon, who in my opinion is a step up from Manny Franco because he's typically the best Kentucky jockey in the circuit. I did have the pleasure of being up close and personal to her in the last couple of weeks. She is a very big, strong filly. I think that she's going to like this distance a little bit more than some of these other horses in here. The number 9 is Desert Dawn, who won the Santa Anita Oaks by a neck by over the favorite Dare Manor. I think I said that right, who everyone was on. She was at Santa Anita up until a few days ago, and this is her first time traveling a long distance. I just don't think that she is up to the caliber of some of these horses. I don't love that this is her first time traveling for a race, and the track's going to be very sloppy compared to what she's been racing on in California. The number 10 is Kathleen O, who is another horse who has yet to be beat. She's gone 4 for 4 in all her starts. She broke her maiden at Aqueduct back in November. They moved her down to Florida for the winter, where she's been very impressively winning in every race. Not to mention, she got the highest buyer in the field, a 98 for her performance in the Gulfstream Park Oaks last month. One thing I do love about this horse is that the owner is in his 80s. He's just trying to live out his dream. I do want to point out that these horses from all over the U.S. are meeting for the first time. So even though she may be the best in Florida, it does not mean she may be the best here tomorrow in the Oaks. She has been working out great at Churchill. She keeps Javier Castellano, which I think that is a great thing. She's going to be very dangerous because she doesn't need the lead like some of these other horses to win. The number 11 is Cocktail Moments, who has finished behind Kathleen O and Ness, both by more than a few lengths. I think that this is a good horse, but she's never ran over 70 buyers, and you're going to need to be a lot quicker than that for this race. So for me, she is just a toss-out. The number 12 is Candy Raid, who I've only seen a couple times. She was in the Rachel Alexandra, where she was never really involved. She got 8th place. They put her to Turfway Park, where she did win the Bourbonette Oaks. And that's how she got her ticket here. I think that there wasn't a whole lot of competition in that race. So with that said, I'm just going to toss on her as well. Now, the number 13 is kind of a wild card to me, who's been racing at Maiden her entire career. She's won every single race. But looking back at those races, I don't think Shahama has really faced a whole lot of great horses. Another thing I want to add is every time I see a horse coming from UAE races and then I see the forecast is going to be rain, I toss them out. Because I flash back to my first Derby in 2017 where Thunder Snow, as soon as he got out of the gate, he felt the mud, he bucked up. He didn't even win, or he didn't even run the race. So with that said, I'm just not going to use her. The last horse is Turner Loose, who is Brad Cox and Manny Franco. This is a turf horse who got put on the dirt in the Rachel Alexandra and won. I believe that race was a complete fluke. If you look at her last performance in the Fairground Oaks, where she got 4th behind a few of these horses in here, I think turf is where she wants to be and not on the dirt. So with all of that said, my top pick this year in the Kentucky Oaks is none other than Nest. I just believe that she is the best of the best. And when I look at her, I see Malathat, and I just think that she's going to be unstoppable. Underneath, I am adding the other New York horse, Venti Valentine. I think that these New York horses have a little bit of upper hand because they've ran in the slop, they've been successful, and they've both ran this distance. And then I also like Hidden Connection with the added distance. So in an exacta box, I'm going to go 3, 4, 8. In a trifecta box, I am going to add in Echo Zulu in case she can get the distance. So it's going to be 3, 4, 7, 8. And then just defensively, I don't want to do this, but in a superfecta box, I have to add in Secret Oath. So it's going to be a 1, 3, 4, 7, 8 box.
Dr. Miranda, the only one on the team going against Kathleen. Oh, but hey, that's why we have you on. You have the opinions that not everybody else does, and you've been doing a great job so far on the Kentucky Oaks Trail. So happy that the big race is finally here. You are dressed up partially on your way to Thurby. As you mentioned, it's going to be raining, so you don't need to go all out, but you're going to have a great time. You've done a great job. Hopefully, all of the fans listening are going to put in those tickets. Head over to racingdudes.com. We've got you covered with free picks for every race, every track across the country. The inside track to the Kentucky Derby wagering guide is available now. Go purchase that. It includes bonus coverage of the Kentucky Oaks and all stakes races Friday, along with top 4 picks for every stakes on the weekend from everyone at Racing Dudes, including Dr. Miranda. So head over to racingdudes.com. Check that out. Hit like before you leave. Hit subscribe if you really like the video. We'll see you at the track.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels, never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,